Code Lyoko was a top 3 show during its runtime, along with Teen Titans and SpongeBob for me. And let me tell y'all right now that it wasn't number 3. Today, I realized that probably no one cares about Code Lyoko anymore, so there's a pretty good chance that I'm making this video just for myself. Oh well, someone has to pass on the gospel of this relic. I wanted to be known that I believe this show holds up pretty well. So don't let my clown-like behavior lead you to think that this show wasn't one of the best cartoons of all time. And that's despite characters having ungodly bobble-shaped heads. It's a shame there was never a single forehead joke in the entire series. It would have been a case of the pot calling the kettle black, but it was a missed opportunity nonetheless. Just a quick rundown of the main cast here before I dive into this show for the 7 of you who accidentally clicked on this video but are too lazy to click off. Our good boy Jeremy here is the brains of the operation. He has irreversible hunchback syndrome from his countless hours behind a computer screen, and he performs techno-babble science magic for his friends, who are sent into a virtual world, and he serves as their guide. I gotta give it up to Jeremy though. The kid literally made his virtual program girlfriend materialize into the real world. He's built different. Probably the only time catching feelings for a 2D or 3D girl actually came with some payoff. The rest of y'all who were out there obsessing over these 2D girls and video game characters were slacking as kids. Jeremy went out and got his. So what's the excuse for the rest of you guys? Now, Odd is the comic relief character of the show who is a serial dater, and someone who would have easily been kidnapped using today's dating apps. That to the side though, he's a bro's bro. Someone you definitely want in your corner, but is also someone you can't keep inviting over to your home because he's gonna empty your fridge. Okay, now Ulrich and Yumi are both frustrating, but Ulrich a bit more than Yumi. Like everyone else in the main cast, I love them, but the whole will they won't they thing throughout the show is I'm too old for this shit. Anyway, Yumi is the only one out of the group who doesn't board at the school, and she's a year ahead of everyone else. When it comes to straight hands, Ulrich and Yumi are 1A, 1B. Now, a bit of a side note right here, but Yumi is a human spinning top. Seriously, I don't know why the f she's always doing some flips and spins. A lot of the time, them shits aren't even necessary. But this is a children's cartoon, so style over practicality. Am I right? Now our girl Aelita over here is into fitness. Over 70% of her screen time is spent running away, since that was her only way to defend herself. And then getting captured or almost getting captured when she could no longer run away. She is the most pivotal piece in the show, but discussing all of that will take a lot of time. You're better off watching it on a bored rainy day to experience some greatness. And then there's Sissy. Sissy. As a kid, I didn't like the mean and rude characters, but now being grown, Sissy is great. She gets roasted a lot because she dishes it out.
The scale is perfectly accurate, Elizabeth.
It's Sissy! This is outrageous! I'm gonna tell my father!
I'd run over to his office if I were you. It might help you lose a few pounds.
The show has so many instances where she'll start off being a dick in the beginning of the episode, but then shows a more friendly and sweeter side, especially when shit goes sideways. Also, I don't know what the f is going on with this skirt and pants combo here. I'm no fashionista, so I could just be straight up clueless, but seriously, I could count the amount of times I've seen this combo pulled off in real life in the early 2000s on one hand. I shouldn't be talking though, for someone who wore 2 hoodies on during the winter time when I could have easily used one of my winter coats instead. Oh yeah, I nearly forgot about the star of the show. X.A.N.A, a sentient, artificial, intelligent, multi-agent system whose goal is to take over the world. The way that the kids can stop X.A.N.A is by going into Lyoko, a virtual world via a supercomputer that virtualizes them there, where their goal is to deactivate a tower that X.A.N.A is virtually attacking, which allows X.A.N.A to attack the real world as well. In order to deactivate the tower, Aelita has to enter it and shut it down. In Lyoko, X.A.N.A sends its goons to stop the Lyoko warriors from escorting Aelita. Deactivating the tower takes X.A.N.A out of the real world until its next attack. Guess X.A.N.A works on a bit of a cooldown here. Also, when shit gets a bit dicey, the supercomputer is powerful enough to rewind the world 24 hours with a nifty little return to the past feature because X.A.N.A really be fucking shit up to the point people are about to die. And every time this feature is used, X.A.N.A grows stronger. Being a sentient AI, I'm sure you can imagine how. The more I go back and watch these things from my childhood, I realize that I'm dying in a lot of these shows. Like this stunt with the rope right here. If that were me, I'd lose a grip a quarter of the way going down because my hands would be on fire. Then I'd land on my neck. Instant fatality. I would have had a closed casket too because my dead body would have been too ashamed for anyone to see me. And lastly, before I can move on, the sizes of these characters' heads are throwing me off now more so than they did as a kid. Yeah, the sizes do grow on you, but damn, nearly no one in this show can physically put on a baseball cap. And if they can, the price would be just as insane as the size of their forehead because of all the extra material that would be needed to craft headwear big enough to cover up the circumference of their planetary domes. The poor mothers in this show, man. As if normal birth wasn't painful enough, but giving birth to these creatures with the head sizes of watermelons is absurd. Okay, I couldn't help myself. Let's get into X.A.N.A here. Like the fact that it either really enjoys electrocuting kids or finds it the most efficient way of disposing of the Lyoko warriors without sending them to the afterlife. Seriously, the amount of times that these kids get electrocuted is insane. Gotta wonder how many volts X.A.N.A is hitting them with. Then again, there is no consistency on how powerful and painful the electricity it uses is. Just like the health point system in Lyoko. Shit just varies from episode to episode. The fact that this show started in 2003 and X.A.N.A was a problem, you just know X.A.N.A would have been an absolute menace in today's age. Your fucking Roomba would be choking you in your sleep. Your Tesla would be driving you off of a cliff. Siri and Alexa would lie to you and feed you false information, and they wouldn't remind you when to take the chicken out of the oven or when to take your meds. All of your smart products would turn on you and become threats to your life. The world would have to return to the Stone Age. Generations would be destroyed and regress. Most of us would die, unable to adapt to the changes X.A.N.A has for humanity. X.A.N.A would rule. X.A.N.A would rule the world and see us as a cancer to Earth that needs to be eradicated to ensure the planet's longevity. A few of us who survived would have to go into hiding. Okay, on some real shit, X.A.N.A was not consistent at times. There were times, like early on in the show, where X.A.N.A wasn't f***ing around, and it used a massive destructive teddy bear, the threat of nuclear explosion, poisonous gas, a satellite with a powerful laser, and even possessing people. But then you have moments where X.A.N.A chooses to possess rats and hornets. Why? Why rats and hornets? I'd have personally gone back to shooting laser beams at the top of their heads. Why would you downgrade to some rats and hornets? X.A.N.A even hopped into the studio and made some AI beats that turned people into vegetables. If nothing else, X.A.N.A is pretty damn creative, but sometimes it feels like it pops out of an electrical socket, and the first thing it attaches itself to is what it decides it's gonna use to waste the Lyoko warriors with that day. Hey man, X.A.N.A works harder than the devil. No breaks, no holidays, no time spent with the family. X.A.N.A is just always scheming up some shit because it has nothing but time as long as the supercomputer is up and running, at least in the first 2 seasons. See, this Terminator and Xenomorph business that X.A.N.A got going on right here is some pretty terrifying shit. And I'm saying this as a grown man, but this would have sent me to the Shadow Realm back in the day. I would have left Earth from getting a heart attack. I will say though, X.A.N.A does got some good taste when it's not messing around with rats and hornets. Probably one of my favorite X.A.N.A pranks is when it decided to turn people into balloons by reversing gravity. That right there is some next level shit, man. And this is more proof of why I could never be in a show like this. It would take X.A.N.A one time to pull something like this and I'm never beefing with it ever again. X.A.N.A was sending people on their way to space, free of charge, on some onto infinity and beyond shit. I don't need to be going up against the enemy that could do that to me. I'm transferring schools. I'm never using the internet again. No more emails. I'm only writing letters. I'm walking or riding a bike to everywhere I go. I'm living in a place with no electrical outlets, and you know what? Even then, I'd still be dead. X.A.N.A just gotta possess some people to turn them into hitmen and take me out, or malfunction a plane and crash it over my head. For some reason, when X.A.N.A possesses you, you become way stronger, you got powers, you're faster, you're more durable. It's like unlocking your entire body. My only question is, why do they never suffer the ramifications of being possessed? Like if I punch a brick wall and destroy it, my hand should be dust. But again, I'm overthinking it. Can't help myself here, guys, I'm sorry. But seriously, the shit that X.A.N.A can do while possessing a person is pretty damn wild. The shape-shifting polymorph bullshit or whatever is one thing, but when it's possessing a person, I don't know, man. Like, how the hell can X.A.N.A make people jump as high as this and skate on water like Sonic the Hedgehog? This fucking AI program went as far as to making a shape-shifting thing and look like the Lyoko warriors on campus, and went around kissing other students, making sure people saw, so that it would mess up the friend circle by playing on their jealousy. This is easily the messiest thing X.A.N.A has ever done, and you just know that X.A.N.A thought that this one right here was gonna slap, because X.A.N.A has all the time in the world to keep coming up with new schemes, yet this is the one that it popped out of the oven. Yeah, X.A.N.A was really feeling itself with this one. But regardless, this is the natural progression of X.A.N.A, going from manipulating creatures to possessions and straight up turning into whoever it wants. The more the return to the past is used, the stronger X.A.N.A gets, learning more each time, becoming more calculating in its attacks, understanding how the Lyoko warriors think, their habits. X.A.N.A is an enemy with near limitless capabilities. You also gotta understand, while I'm not sure what the cooldown for X.A.N.A looks like, you have to be on guard, which can be pretty draining. For instance, Yumi here is going on a class trip. Me personally, I would have had some earphones and with my eyes closed to relax. But here comes X.A.N.A about to jump Yumi by controlling everyone in the bus. Another reason why I couldn't have been in this show. I would have got jumped before I even knew what was going on. Like, X.A.N.A, please, let me enjoy this free time during school hours. Do you have no heart? Now I'm far away from school and I gotta run back to get some backup. Man, if you're up against X.A.N.A, you gotta be fit. Despite starting off creative, over time X.A.N.A just stuck with what it believed to be the most efficient way of dealing with the Lyoko warriors, and that would be by possessions, or the polymorphing shapeshifting shit that it uses to keep the Lyoko warriors from going into Lyoko. Yeah, personally for me, as the show went on, I started seeing X.A.N.A as just a powerful ghost who spent a lot of its time on the dark web. Alrighty now, there's no other point in this video where I can organically bring this up, but I've gotta get this out of the way before I move on. This rewatch was starting to piss me off. Why the frick? In almost every episode, these kids are being taught that y equals mx+b. Or rather, y equals ax+b. Up to this point in the show, nearly a full year has passed, and yet they're still learning that y equals mx+b? Seriously? At this specific point in my watch through, I'm 22 episodes deep at the moment, and I keep seeing this equation being written on the board all the time by different teachers with the same students. It has been driving me insane. Seriously, what in the actual frick are these students learning at this school? Oh dear God, maybe this is why X.A.N.A is so relentless when trying to kill and take over by eliminating these kids before they can truly go out into the world to become full-fledged members of society. Because if they can't understand that y equals mx+b by now, after a full year, then it's straight up wraps for them. I'm sorry, but they're not surviving out in the real world. It should be a sin that there is a 50% chance that if something is written on the board, it's y equals ax+b. I swear, this is gonna haunt me in my dreams, and I loved math all throughout school. But this This right here is just ridiculous. Look at the first time something other than y equals ax plus b is written on the board, and not even Jeremy can handle it. It is absolute madness. This is about as dumb as when X.A.N.A controlled those swarms of hornets, and hornet removal people came through without any protective suits, despite how severe the situation was. Usually, I don't get all meta and explain how shows reuse footage to save time with animation, but fuck. For a show to show reuse footage of y equals ax plus b is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs levels of insanity. Seriously, when the equation is written on the board, I want you to look at the color of the sleeves right here. Okay, good. Now look at what the teacher is wearing. Unfucking believable. Bro, not even 3 minutes into episode 23, and there's already another f***ing equation written on the board. X.A.N.A, kill all of them. Please, do it for me. They don't deserve happiness. Oh my god, kill them all, please. This linear equation is gonna be the death of me. Oh my god. And the fact that the equation isn't related to the class being taught sometimes is what drives me even more insane.
Class dismissed. And don't forget Monday's quiz on seismic phenomena. And so this equation, which you weren't able to solve, would have enabled you to... Class dismissed, and don't forget your chemistry exercise for tomorrow.
Like why? Why on earth is it written so big? Why? Why is this the focal point in every class that's being taught? Why? Oh my god, just shut the school down, please. Everywhere I go, every time I close my eyes, I see it. It won't leave me alone. Oh my god, it won't leave me alone. Why? Why won't it just leave me alone? Why won't it just leave me alone? Oh my god. Y equals mx plus b, please. Please leave me alone. Please. Please. Another mystery that I will never be able to solve is why are there so many tall girls in this show? I'm 6'1", and I wasn't a late bloomer, so I didn't consistently start seeing girls taller than me until college, and even then most of those girls were either on the basketball or volleyball team. Definitely wasn't the case for me in middle or high school. Just looking at Yumi's father, I can't help but salute the man. Shout out to him. Short guys and tall women all deserve love too. Overall, it's just an interesting observation. For the life of me, I didn't get why X.A.N.A didn't just go full murder death kill instead of taking time to troll the Lyoko warriors. You clearly see what it's capable of if it really wanted to go full scorched earth mode. Me personally, I'd attack from space every time. Of course, X.A.N.A needs Aelita so it can't straight up kill her, but I'd have been going back to multiple satellites to shoot at them kids. I don't care how many times they stop me. I'm going to keep attacking from space, finding different methods, anything. They would be afraid to look up into the sky by the time I'm done with them. Hell, I'll even mix it up a bit like X.A.N.A did and just possess animals and just f**k with them. Then after that, I'd go straight back to shooting at their head tops. I'd attack every night when they're asleep and mess with their sleep schedules, make them all fail their classes. X.A.N.A truly is a complicated antagonist, because while it does want to destroy the Lyoko warriors so nothing is in the way of stopping it, it's considerate and gives them grace and doesn't go as ruthless as it can. If I were X.A.N.A, I would have done something as simple as tampering with these ropes that they always use instead of going down the stairs. With this alone, X.A.N.A would have been caught bodies. No extra shit needed. Don't get me wrong, controlling the weather and giving the Lyoko warriors a difficult time when it's creative can be cool. But sometimes creativity can be a bit much when there are more direct and easier ways of handling the kids. Like in this episode, I don't know what kind of strand X.A.N.A was smoking off of the dark web for it to decide to fight the kids as a big giant food monster. And again, this is after X.A.N.A escaped Lyoko and was pretty powerful. Why regress? What does X.A.N.A get out of doing this? Seriously, you want to smother your enemies to death with dusty old pantry goods and produce? I'm not gonna lie, X.A.N.A really gotta be bored, because there's no way every now and then it does some trolling bullshit like this. trying to take over might be its main goal, but apparently, even a sentient AI needs time to have fun to terrorize some kids, which would realistically cause them trauma and mess up their future development. But this is a cartoon, and that would be too dark. Speaking of dark though, I never really realized that this show had some messed up moments, like Aelita pretty much trying to end her life by shutting down the supercomputer so that X.A.N.A wouldn't get a key that she had stored inside of her, because shutting down the supercomputer meant that X.A.N.A wouldn't be able to freely escape and take over the world. But yeah, Aelita deciding to take her own life to save the world from that future was just glossed over. X.A.N.A had these kids out here stressing, man. It always amazes me when adults are beefing with children like an anime, but for an AI that has no emotions to be beefing with a group of middle schoolers is pretty funny. X.A.N.A is supposed to be a powerful AI that can bring down the world, yet a group of kids stand in its way constantly. Yeah man, if I was X.A.N.A I'd be pissed, computer program or not. The only times you get to see X.A.N.A's emotions is when it's possessing someone, or when it's that polymorphing shapeshifting thing. Like look here, look at how salty X.A.N.A is when it can't trick the Lyoko warriors into skipping class to mess with their grades even more. Narrowly killing them time after time again isn't enough, it also has to ruin their education. Let's be real though, with all of that y=ax+b business time after time again, what education are these students really getting? The saltiness definitely carries over to X.A.N.A's goons. Just look at this fucker over here, camping in the corner like a fucking pussy. The goons are just as petty as X.A.N.A. That kill took no skill, bitch. It's real funny how X.A.N.A does want to kill the Lyoko warriors because they're a hurdle in its way, but at the same time, it's not a complete asshole to them. Like, yeah, I'll kidnap you and extort your friends into giving me what I want, or else I'll start killing you guys. But at the same time, it's willing to give the clothes off of its own back. Or rather, the clothes off of the person's back that they're controlling, but you get what I mean. Even right here, it could have easily hurt them little kids, but it didn't. For an evil AI, even X.A.N.A has standards. In one episode, X.A.N.A messed with Ulrich and Odd's minds after they materialized from Lyoko. They started to hallucinate X.A.N.A's creatures, mistaking people as enemies that they normally fight on Lyoko. This shit was pretty funny, not gonna lie, and it was a great way to ruin Ulrich's and Odd's image on campus. They would have forever have been known as the crazy students, and given how mean some kids can be at that young age, they would have never shook that shit off. Out of all of the ways to keep your enemy preoccupied, X.A.N.A opted for this over the plethora of other deadlier options. This is why I keep saying X.A.N.A is not serious. It's trolling. It's having fun torturing these kids. Why? Why is an AI program that's a virus that's supposed to bring down the world keep doing this sort of shit? To have fun and be petty. That's all it is.
If you're gonna keep changing appearances like that, do me a favor and turn into a wimp next time.
But this right here is the bullshit I always talk about villains doing.
Well, what do you know? You actually survived. Huh? You're a real swimming champ.
What do you mean you actually survived? Why are you surprised? Man, even a sentient AI is susceptible to letting its enemy live to make its existence more difficult. Something else I gotta get out of the way before I get back to X.A.N.A is the shit that goes on in the background at times. Since I've started doing these sorts of videos, I've gotten into the habit of watching over scenes with a fine-tooth comb, and sometimes things can be a bit odd. Like, I don't even know how to describe this. Between this and animating Kiwi's nuts, I don't know what to say, so I'm just going to describe what I see on screen. A naked little man is drinking milk from a malnourished bear. Yeah, I'd have much preferred if I hadn't picked up on this. Speaking of Kiwi's nuts though, France, what the hell is up with y'all and drawing a dog's nuts? Huh? The little cartoon X for the asshole is one thing, but the actual nuts? Man, artistically it's accurate, so I can't hate on it, but this is breaking cartoon ethics. What makes this weird is that for a few frames for one episode, the nuts are there, then they're gone later in the same scene. Why even go through the trouble of animating some nuts when you could have done without them in the first place? Have some decency, France. Do better. Or if you're not gonna do better, at least be more consistent. Sorry, but with that out of the way, the only thing from this show that's in the background that makes me feel even more unnerving than whatever the f this is how Jeremy's poster of Einstein in his dorm changes from time to time. It's creepy to say the least. It gives off an eerie feeling. It's as if the eyes keep following the camera, seeking to photobomb whoever's at the room at every opportunity it has. Within a 3-minute span in one episode, we see 3 different expressions from the Einstein poster. What the f is so captivating for the poster to be so expressive? I know when these sorts of things happen in animated shows, people will explain how they're Easter eggs or done intentionally. Sorry, but those explanations don't work over on this side. What does this sentient poster mean in the world of this show? Out of all the bullshit in this show that X.A.N.A has pulled, this is by far the creepiest thing one would be able to spot. Talking about creepy, X.A.N.A knowing you to the point that it can bait you and manipulate you is where it can get a bit spooky. Like in the episode where X.A.N.A lures Odd out into the woods where he's all alone because it knows that Odd is a serial dater who can't resist. X.A.N.A, you're a dirty stalker. For something to not be human and still manipulate you is some scary shit for technology to be capable of. All of this ChatGPT shit is gonna be the death of us. But y'all are not ready for that conversation. In this same episode, X.A.N.A doesn't kill Odd. Instead, it throws Odd down a well and lets him slowly drown to death, instead of just straight up killing him. Why, you might ask? To torture them. Plain and simple. I swear, it isn't even about killing them half the time. You know what? The last 5 to 7 minutes of most episodes had me feeling pretty anxious as a kid. That was where the Lyoko warriors in the real world would barely survive with 1/10 of a second to spare. Why do all shows and movies do that shit though, huh? A bomb is about to go off, it's stopped with fractions of a second left to spare every single time. For once, I'd like to see someone stop the bomb with 8 seconds to spare. These constant nail biters, man, especially as a kid, it damaged me. And it also didn't help that in the show, Aelita walked super slow once she entered the tower, especially earlier on in the series. I mean, look at this bullshit. X.A.N.A got the homies about to drown in the car, and you got Aelita over here doing flips in the tower. You know what, that isn't even my real issue. My real issue is we clearly see she's capable of running into the tower. So why not every single time? Why take your time when X.A.N.A is about to catch bodies, which wouldn't be saved with a simple return of the past? Because those who die, die. They stay dead. Those are the rules. No returning 24 hours back in the past can change that shit. But yeah, when I talk about having anxiety watching this show as a kid, this is the type of shit I'm talking about. X.A.N.A pushes these kids to the point they gotta do f***ing bomb defusals like it's a 5th period elective class. I'll say that again. X.A.N.A got these kids doing bomb defusals. Bro, how am I supposed to go back to classes after defusing a bomb as a kid? How? Am I supposed to go along to my biology class and act like everything is normal, as if I wasn't almost blown the hell up? You wanna know the messed up part with this episode in particular? If X.A.N.A was successful and the Lyoko warriors died when the demolition explosive went off, the man that X.A.N.A possessed would have had his life ruined. He'd have been labeled a terrorist and a kid murderer. That man might have had a family. Now this is the image they're gonna have when they think about their father or husband. God, X.A.N.A, how heartless can you be? You know how it feels like some characters get it worse than others in a show, and you just chalk it up to bad luck? Well, Yumi has bad luck. I know this shit gotta hurt. I kinda wanna hate X.A.N.A anytime it controls animals, but with X.A.N.A being more powerful later on in the show and having the crow's beaks being able to penetrate a wooden door, them pecks to Yumi gotta be fatal. Death by 100 pecks. Shit, not even 100. I haven't really paid much attention to it, but it feels like Yumi gets f***ed up the most by X.A.N.A. Either her or Odd. X.A.N.A deadass had a crab pull up to her family. She almost got sniped from a laser from space. She nearly froze to death. And here you got crows treating her like a buffet. Can't forget that time that she was almost strangled to death by that xenomorph. and all the electrocuting, but then again, all the characters get electrocuted. Hell, I kind of feel like this carries over to Lyoko as well. Look at this. Yumi got sent packing after a few seconds of being virtualized. That had to have been the fastest devirtualization in the show. The Yumi disrespect is crazy, Z.A.N.A. I don't know what you have against this girl, man. This bit right here is a bit random, but you want to know how I gathered that the show ended up getting a bit more budget after Season 1? I'll tell you, it wasn't a visual upgrade of the 3D models in Season 2, nor the outfit change in Season 4. It was the board no longer showing that y equaled ax plus b. Not to spin the block back on this, but the fact that the animators finally decided to put relevant shit on the board during class, besides the good old linear equation, told me all I needed to know. God, I know that must have hurt them, just as much as it hurt them when the Lyoko Warriors got redesigns and they had to redo Aelita when she entered the tower. Some might say that I'm overreacting, but even when they all got upgraded designs in Season 2, specifically with Aelita, they still kept her model from Season 1 when she entered the tower, as if they couldn't be bothered to change it. At this point of the video, I would love to end it, given its length. But how can I not talk about Z.A.N.A.'s #1 soldier in the series? Hey man, when this theme played, you knew damn well the Lyoko Warriors were in for a difficult time. Z.A.N.A. saw William and Lyoko for the first time and said, "Hold the f*** up, there's another one of you guys I gotta deal with? Man, enough is enough. I'm evening the odds." For being a noob, William was putting in work during his first trip on Lyoko before Z.A.N.A. took control over him and made him its general. Seeing William be a part of Team Z.A.N.A. was cool, and it was a nice twist. And I also appreciated the drama that came from the fallout of this happening. But it's moments like this where I truly realize how Z.A.N.A. just spies on the Lyoko Warriors on its downtime. Z.A.N.A. was waiting for William, there's no other way to put it. It knew what was about to go down. It knew William was coming. More on William though, he was a pretty formidable opponent. When William turned, he was soloing the entire squad. And maybe because this was towards the ending of the show, but I remember these episodes the most. Once Z.A.N.A. had William in its back pocket to use, that's when I really felt like Z.A.N.A. was catching more and more dubs. William would be terrorizing the Lyoko Warriors, and then Z.A.N.A. would be a menace out in the real world. Them kids were getting their asses kicked on both fronts, which made my anxiety as a kid even worse. But even despite those feelings, it was completely worth it, because Code Lyoko was absolutely amazing. And to this very day, it's still one of the best cartoons that was ever made. Please leave me alone, please, please.